Hey everybody, it is Kendéll, Lenice, and welcome to put my mic right here. To Book It, a place where books are discussed. Hey everybody, I hope you are well. So if you're just tuning in to Book It for the first time, again, this is a place where books are discussed. I love autobiographies. I love a lot of books, a lot of different kinds of books, but I love autobiographies. I love to see the journey of people and how they got where they are, wherever that is, right? And the ebbs and flows of their lives, who played parts in their lives, what trials did they have to get over, what story are they telling about their life. I love autobiographies. The last one I did on here, of course, was Bobby Brown, which I've read a couple of times. So, this next book, I've read this a couple of times, and I decided I haven't read it recently. It came out October 2020, and I reread it again last year, I believe. And the reason why I'm doing this book it now is because, first of all, I'm talking about Lenny Kravitz, Let Love Rule. Let Love Rule was one of Lenny Kravitz's popular songs, and it's a good song. I was just listening to it this morning because I saw that yesterday he got his Hollywood Walk of Fame star. Let's give it up for Lenny Kravitz. Let's give it up for Helen Willis's son, Roxy Roker's son, Cicely Tyson's godson, right? Denzel Washington's brother. Let's give it up for Zoe Kravitz's dad, Lisa Bonet's ex-husband, right? Um, he got his Hollywood Walk of Fame star, and he had Denzel Washington, which he calls his brother, and his daughter Zoe Kravitz, which is by Lisa Bonet, to present the award. You know that they ask um, who they want to present their award or what is the list that they would have. And Denzel Washington came and it was beautiful. So to see people get their flowers and he got his Walk of Fame star and he was clean, y'all. Lenny Kravitz was clean. Colon Cancer Awareness Month. It's fallen, but that's all right. You see it. You see it. But Lenny Kravitz was clean. He went viral a few months ago with him dancing on TikTok, and it ended up crossing over to Instagram and Twitter or X and all of that. And Sherry Shepherd even had a big statue cut out of Lenny Kravitz, and everybody was talking about how great he looked dancing, and he was dancing to R&B. He was dancing to "Don't Look Any Further, Further" by Dennis Edwards and Saida Garrett. But Lenny Kravitz's book, Let Love Rule, is an autobiography and it came out October 2020. He talks about his life of being Jewish and Christian and black and white because his father was Jewish, he was white, and him not even knowing that he was mixed race, and how his West Indian heritage on his mother's side played a big part in his life. Um, he's a Gemini like me. Um, he said Let Love Rule. Let me just talk about that. So it covers when he was in LA and born in New York, in Manhattan's Upper East Side, in Brooklyn's Bedford-Stuyvesant, to Los Angeles, Baldwin Hills. Now, if you know about Baldwin Hills, that's like the Black Beverly Hills. All the Black prominent people, all the superstars, back in the day and still to this day, would move to Baldwin Hills. So he talked about living there and then also living in Beverly Hills and in France, England, and Germany. He talked about him being creative and struggling in school and having his parents. He could feel the tension between his parents as he was growing up, and he talked about how his father was so hard on him and so rough on him and growing up, and sometimes thinking his father didn't even like him because he was so hard on him. He talks about being wildly creative. And I know how that is, that's how we are. We're extremely creative in everything and trying to find his place. not just as a musician and a performer, but just as a person, and not even knowing, that he was quote unquote different, and his father was white and his mother was black, until, reality hits you and kids hit you and different things like that. And he talks about his father, Cy Kravitz, who was a news executive. And of course, his mother was Roxy Roker, the television star. And then he married Lisa Bonet, an actress, and it became his muse with everything he did. Y'all remember back when she was on The Cosby Show, and they got together, and then she got pregnant, and she was pregnant on the show. And Bill Cosby was not having it, right? He talks about his love for Lisa Bonet. And one of my favorite songs, that It Ain't Over Till It's Over, when he and Lisa Bonet broke up, and he divorced, and he wrote a song about her. That's my song, It Ain't Over Till It's Over. And music is good music. Like if I'm playing it in the car and it's on my playlist, then I get in my daughter's car and she got It Ain't Over Till It's Over, Lenny Kravitz, on her playlist. That's when you raising your kids right, when they playing good music and you see it roll around. You're just like, I see who introduced you to that song. But Lenny Kravitz also talks about his love for his mother, and how his mother loved and adored him. And, of course, the passing of her, he talks about that, and finally coming to an understanding with his father, but it was so much strife growing up. Um, he talks about his life intimately, and he talks about Cicely Tyson being very close to his mom, and being his godmother. And then I also read Cicely Tyson's book, which was outstanding. I'll do a book it for that. I read that book like 3 times. That book was good. And she talks about Lenny Kravitz in his book, and her book, and his mom, and how that's her godson. So I love, just like when I read Will's book a million times, and Jada's book, I love hearing the stories from the different point of view of the author, right? Cross talking about one another in their books. And that's how, like, Lenny Kravitz and Cicely Tyson was in the book. Um, it was so sweet, him talking about his daughter and how he fell in love. And, he used to go by Romeo Blue. That was his name if you followed him back then, and really trying to find himself. And I know he's often talked about, sometimes how Black people don't realize, like, what he's doing is Black music. Rock is Black music, and how sometimes he's over here and then the Black artists are over here. But, folks love Lenny Kravitz, right? They love, they may not know all of his music or all of his bodies of work, but I never met a Black person. I don't know all the Black people in the world, but I never was just like, they might say his music may not hit for them, or they can pick a song that's kind of more R&B or urban and kind of like it, or they can say, I like his style, I like he don't care, or he got good taste in women, or whatever. I've heard people say, good things about Lenny Kravitz, but this book is like a deep reflection of his life. He goes through, and it's bold when people can, like, really open up about their lives and the struggles that they've had, and difficult times with family, and trying to figure it out in life and career and business, and trying to figure out who they are. It's not easy to be able to speak about your life, because it can bring up pain and trauma. It can have you reflecting and remembering things that you didn't necessarily want to remember. So he wrote this book with David Ritz, and David Ritz does a lot of books with he co-authors a lot of books. I believe he did DMX's book. Don't quote me on that. He's done a lot of books. DMX's book, Earl. Maybe we'll talk about that one day. But he helps authors write their story. And I can respect that, because I do the same thing. Like, I help women tell their stories, whether it's in their book or otherwise. And I'm helping, I was just asked by a woman to help her write her story. And I've done that, a few times, and it's rewarding to see them, come out with it, because it's not easy. I don't know. I don't even know, like, even at almost 53 years old, to write a memoir autobiography. Like, I probably would never do that. In each book that I publish of my own, I share a lot of my life in books. And then on podcasts and talk shows and the shows that I do, I share a lot of my life. But I wouldn't even know how to set it up and start from, like, my feelings and trying to figure that out, like when I was born, because then you got to put your mama's business in there. Sometimes you got to put your daddy business in there. You got to put, and then sometimes people are funny with that. But help writing a book about your life is cathartic, and a lot of people say that, but it is deep and it is painful. I remember when Jada was talking about writing her book and going back there, and her mom, Gammy, was like, no, it didn't happen like that, or I didn't say it like that, or different things. Even something as simple as how the sentiment, because the way people receive something may be different than, the person intended it to be. And you're going back in people's lives. And I know my mom would be like, don't be telling my business. You know what I mean? So that's difficult. But then you look at him with, it sets you free. And I love that he named it after one of his popular songs, Let Love Rule, because at the end of the day, that's how he appeared to carry his life, and he let love rule. I want to see something. I want to see what people are saying about the book, because I know what I think. Let me see. So some people are saying, do yourself a favor and listen to the audio. I can listen to this man read. Now, I listened to the audio. The audio was good. If y'all follow me and you watch Book It, you know that I love when an author reads their own story. Cicely Tyson did it right before she passed. Ain't that something? She did it. Bobby Brown did it. We can go on and on and on with all the books. So I love when an author reads their story. So I'm seeing what people are saying about it. Do yourself a favor. The audiobook is good. And someone talks about meeting him. Others are saying, so people seem to be giving it 4 stars like me. And someone said, honestly, all that I knew about Lenny Kravitz before reading this book was he was a rock star. I love his music. He was married to Lisa Bonet, and his mom was the mega famous Roxy Roker from the Jeffersons. There is so much more, so much more. And she said, fun fact, Lenny is a fellow Gemini. Somebody said that, like me. Not only is he a fellow Gemini, but he's the birthday twin of this person. So I loved it. Someone said, I was disappointed that the book ended before he became the rock star that he is today. However, he ended the book to be continued. If you're writing, Lenny, I'm waiting. They said, I will be reading whatever you put out. I really love this book. The audio was a bit mesmerizing. I agree. And I might listen to that again. Once again, if you watch me and you watch Book It, you know that I will read or listen to a book 4 or 5 times, because sometimes there's so much that you miss in a book, whether you're reading it multiple times or listening to it multiple times or both. And you can catch gems and you can catch lessons. And I'd like to repeatedly listen to audiobooks or read the book just to make sure I get the fullness of the book. So everybody that I'm looking at loves the book, and I know I do too. The book came out October 2020. I read it early on, or listened to the audio early on. But we're talking about Let Love Rule, Lenny Kravitz's book, right now, because he just got his Hollywood Walk of Fame star. So this is Book It, where books are discussed. If you want me to talk about your favorite book or have questions, always email me at kendalllenice@gmail.com. You can even hit me up on social media right in the body of this. If there's a book that you want me to discuss, or you have suggestions on books, let me know. All right. So right now, speaking of multiple times, reading a book. So I went to Jada Pinkett Smith's book signing. So I have the physical book, and I read the physical book. I listened to Jada's audio once, and now I'm listening to the audio again. And I also am re listening to More Than Enough, Elaine Welteroth's book. If you don't know who she is, that's your book at homework. Look her up, and she was the first Black woman for blah, 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 blah. I don't want to give it away. And she's not even that old. And then I also have a book on deck that I'm waiting to read, that I got recommendations from. It's Robin Sharma's The 5 a.m. Club. Own your morning, elevate your life. So that's on deck for me to read also. But thank y'all for tuning in to Book It, where books are discussed. What are y'all reading? What are y'all reading? I want y'all to elevate your mind, y'all. Books can take you places you may never go. So pick up a book and read it. This is Book It. God bless y'all. Peace.